Dana Perino's story begins in a small town, far away from the power and spotlight of Washington, D.C. She was born on May 9, 1972, in Evanston, Wyoming, a place with just over 10,000 people at the time. Her childhood was shaped by simple family values rooted in both American grit and her Italian heritage. Her great-grandparents had come from Italy, and they passed down traditions of hard work, loyalty, and resilience. When Dana was very young, her family moved to Parker, Colorado, searching for better opportunities. Parker was quiet and modest in those days, the kind of town where neighbors knew one another, and families leaned on strong community bonds. Even as a child, Dana showed determination. At just 6 years old, while visiting Washington, D.C. with her family, she looked up at the White House and boldly promised her parents that she would one day work there. It wasn't a passing childhood fantasy. She meant it, and her parents never forgot that moment. That early promise was the seed of a dream that, against all odds, she eventually fulfilled. Summers spent on her grandfather's ranch also shaped her character. She woke at 4 a.m. to move cattle, experiencing firsthand the toughness of ranch life. These mornings taught her optimism and discipline, the same skills she would later use. While facing political battles and national crises, Dana also trained as a gymnast during her youth, which required long hours of discipline and performing under pressure. These lessons in balance and control would become tools she carried with her into the press room years later. From an early age, Dana combined resilience, curiosity, and ambition. And these qualities slowly guided her toward her plot childhood dreams and early life. Dana Perino's story begins in a small town, far away from the power and spotlight of Washington, D.C. She was born on May 9, 1972, in Evanston, Wyoming, a place with just over 10,000 people at the time. Her childhood was shaped by simple family values, rooted in both American grit and her Italian heritage. Her great-grandparents had come from Italy, and they passed down traditions of hard work, loyalty, and resilience. When Dana was very young, her family moved to Parker, Colorado, searching for better opportunities. Parker was quiet and modest in those days, the kind of town where neighbors knew one another, and families leaned on strong community bonds. Even as a child, Dana showed determination. At just 6 years old, while visiting Washington, D.C. with her family, she looked up at the White House and boldly promised her parents that she would one day work there. It wasn't a passing childhood fantasy. She meant it, and her parents never forgot that moment. That early promise was the seed of a dream that, against all odds, she eventually fulfilled. Summers spent on her grandfather's ranch also shaped her character. She woke at 4 a.m. to move cattle, experiencing firsthand the toughness of ranch life. These mornings taught her optimism and discipline, the same skills she would later use while facing political battles and national crises. Dana also trained as a gymnast during her youth, which required long hours of discipline and performing under pressure. These lessons in balance and control would become tools she carried with her into the press room years later. From an early age, Dana combined resilience, curiosity, and ambition. And these qualities slowly guided her toward her place in American political history. Dana's teenage years in Parker, Colorado, continued to prepare her for the career she would eventually build. At Ponderosa High School, she discovered her love for communication and debate. She joined speech clubs and competitions, quickly realizing she had a natural gift for speaking clearly, thinking quickly, and persuading people with her words. Teachers encouraged her to aim high, noticing that Dana was not only hardworking but also passionate about learning. By the time she graduated, she already had her eyes set on a career in media and politics. In college, she pushed herself harder than ever. She attended Colorado State University Pueblo and earned a degree in mass communications with minors in political science and Spanish. To make ends meet and gain real experience, Dana worked the overnight shift as a country music DJ. From 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., she kept a local station alive, talking to listeners, taking song requests, and ensuring that the air never went silent. While most students slept, Dana was grinding through lonely hours, than heading straight to class or debate practice. The job was tiring, especially because she had to play Billy Ray Cyrus's Achy Breaky Heart every single hour. But it gave her patience and stamina. At the same time, Dana was active on the college debate team, competing across the country and sharpening her skills in argument and quick thinking. She also hosted a political show called Capital Journal on KTSE TV and worked on Standoff, a program that covered heated social issues. These projects forced her to think on her feet, handle difficult guests, and manage live broadcast skills that would later become vital at the White House. Her education was not just about books and exams, it was about preparing herself for the demanding, unpredictable, and often stressful world of communication and politics. After finishing her degree, Dana pursued a master's program in public affairs, reporting at the University of Illinois, Springfield. During that time, she worked as a reporter for WCIA-TV, where she covered the state capitol, chasing down lawmakers, reporting on new bills, and learning to meet tight deadlines gave her a real-world education in politics and journalism. It was tough work, but she thrived in the challenge. Soon after, she made the move to Washington, D.C., beginning as a staff assistant for Congressman Scott McGinnis. The role wasn't glamorous. She answered phones, sorted mail, and scheduled meetings, but it taught her the most important lesson of politics. Loyalty and discretion matter more than anything. One careless word or mistake could end someone's career. Dana quickly absorbed the unspoken rules of Capitol Hill and learned how political deals were made. Later, she became press secretary for Congressman Dan Schaefer, who chaired a major committee on energy and power. Suddenly, Dana was dealing with national debates on energy policy, deregulation, and the environment. She had to explain complicated issues like nuclear safety and renewable energy in simple language that ordinary Americans could understand. The work was intense, the deadlines short, and the stakes high, but it gave her confidence and authority. Then, in 1998, when Schaefer retired, Dana faced a turning point. Instead of staying in Washington and chasing the next political opportunity, she chose love. She had met Peter McMahon, a British businessman, on a plane, and after a whirlwind romance, she married him and moved to England. It was a bold decision, one that surprised many. At only 26 years old, Dana walked away from Washington to start fresh with Peter. Her time abroad opened her eyes to global politics and gave her a sense of balance that later helped her during her toughest moments. Dana's marriage to Peter McMahon was one of the most surprising turns in her life story. They met by chance on a flight, sitting next to one another when only 2 seats remained. Despite their differences, an 18-year age gap, different countries, and Peter's history of previous marriages, they formed an instant bond. Within less than a year, they secretly eloped in England, with no family or friends present. This decision shocked people who knew Dana as a rising star in Washington politics. Yet, Dana called it the best decision of her life. After moving abroad, and later to San Diego, she worked in high-tech public affairs. Staying connected to communications while supporting Peter, everything changed after the September 11, 2001 attacks. Like many Americans, Dana felt called to serve her country in a deeper way. By November of that year, she had returned to Washington, this time as a spokesperson for the Department of Justice. The timing placed her right in the heart of America's response to terrorism. She had to explain controversial decisions, like the Patriot Act and military commissions at Guantanamo Bay, to the press. These were years of intense pressure, fear, and scrutiny. Yet Dana stayed calm, carefully choosing her words and building a reputation as someone who could handle national crises without losing her composure. By 2003, she transitioned to the White House Council on Environmental Quality, where she handled messaging on issues like climate change, energy independence, and drilling in the Arctic. Her ability to explain complex policies clearly and persuasively made her stand out once again. Little by little, she was building the experience and trust that would soon place her at the center of American politics. In 2006, Dana's career reached a new level when President George W. Bush promoted her to Deputy Press Secretary. Just 1 year later, in 2007, she was named the 26th White House Press Secretary, the first Republican woman ever to hold the position. Her journey from small-town Wyoming to one of the most high-pressure jobs in Washington was nothing short of extraordinary. The timing, however, was difficult. She stepped into the role during the final years of Bush's presidency, when the Iraq War was deeply unpopular and the country was sliding toward the 2008 financial crisis. Reporters were aggressive, demanding answers about war strategy, casualties, and economic troubles. Dana admitted that it was frustrating not being able to give reporters the full answers they wanted, but she stayed steady. Her calm, composed style helped the administration communicate in turbulent times. Still, the job was not without drama. In December 2008, during Bush's last visit to Iraq, an Iraqi journalist threw his shoes at the president in a shocking act of protest. While Bush dodged the attack, Dana was accidentally struck in the face by a microphone stand during the chaos. She ended up with a black eye, which she later jokingly called her Baghdad Shiner. The incident became symbolic, with some saying the administration had literally left with a black eye. Dana's ability to laugh about it, while still fulfilling her duties, showed her strength and resilience. She left the White House in January 2009, but her time there had cemented her place in history. She wasn't just another press secretary. She was a trailblazer and a woman who handled one of the toughest jobs in politics with dignity and composure. When Dana left the White House, she quickly found a new path in media. In 2009, she joined Fox News as a political commentator. By 2011, she became one of the co-hosts of The Five, a new show that unexpectedly became one of the most popular programs on the network. Her sharp thinking, humor, and calm presence helped the show draw millions of viewers. She also co-anchored America's Newsroom, further solidifying her place as one of Fox's most trusted voices. Beyond television, Dana devoted herself to helping young women through mentorship. She co-founded an initiative called Minute Mentoring, which worked like speed dating but for career advice. Instead of long, drawn-out sessions, young professionals got quick, focused advice from experienced leaders. The program became a national success, helping thousands of women connect with mentors in law, politics, business, and media. Dana also became an author, writing books about her experiences, including one dedicated to her beloved Vizsla dog, Jasper. Jasper became a star in his own right, with fans recognizing him in public parks and following his adventures online. When Jasper passed away in 2021, thousands of people sent condolences, showing just how deeply the dog had captured the public's heart. Dana later welcomed another Vizsla named Percy, who has also become popular with fans. Behind her professional success, Dana faced personal challenges as well. At one point, her husband Peter McMahon was briefly jailed over an unpaid ticket related to walking their dog without a leash. The strange story amused fans but also showed how quickly small mistakes can spiral. In recent years, reports suggested that Peter's health brought difficulties into Dana's life. Though she has remained private about details, what she has shared is her struggle to balance her demanding career with being a supportive partner and caregiver. Many admired her honesty, as it opened up wider conversations about caregiving, mental health, and resilience.